Two paths lie before every gardener who touches the earth. One demands heavy wallets and continuous labor. The other asks for absolutely nothing but your trust. Every spring, millions of homesteaders fall into a calculated commercial loop. They are told that a beautiful harvest requires hundreds of dollars spent on commercial bags of soil, fertilizers, and sprays. But what if the entire $500 blueprint is fundamentally wrong? In 1975, a legendary Japanese philosopher and scientist published a direct challenge to the industrial complex. His name was Masanobu Fukuoka, and his book, The One Straw Revolution, turned global agriculture completely upside down. Fukuoka didn't invent a more complex machine or a stronger fertilizer. Instead, he asked an entirely different question. Instead of asking, "What more can I do to grow crops?" he asked, "What can I stop doing?" The answer led to the 4 sacred rules of Shizen Nōhō. No tilling, no chemical fertilizer, no pesticides, no weeding. To modern agricultural science, this sounded like absolute madness, a recipe for complete crop failure. Yet, after 25 years of continuous testing on the exact same mountainside plot, the data delivered a shocking truth. Fukuoka's $0 natural farm achieved grain yields that were perfectly equal to, and often exceeded, the most input-heavy chemical fields in Japan. And his soil didn't degrade. It became richer, darker, and completely self-sustaining every single year. How can a garden built on absolute $0 outperform an industrial system backed by millions? Let's crack open the soil and find out. Year 1. The starting gun fires, and the chemical garden immediately takes a massive, aggressive lead. Fueled by $500 of industrial inputs, synthetic nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium saturate the topsoil layer. This creates the grand illusion of success, the chemical euphoria. Crops swell to twice their natural size in a matter of weeks, but underneath this explosive canopy, plants are becoming entirely addicted to external force, unable to search for food on their own. Because nutrients are spoon-fed from above, the roots grow lazy and shallow, remaining trapped in the top few inches of dead dirt. Meanwhile, across the boundary line, in the $0 natural garden, a completely different system is being engineered. Under the undisturbed mangbao of Fukuoka's golden straw mulch, The ground temperature remains perfectly regulated, trapping crucial moisture. Decades of research from the Rodale Institute confirm that this organic approach builds an underworld environment teeming with life. Their trials show that undisturbed organic soils accumulate up to 3 to 5 times more active microbial biomass than chemical plots. By year 3, while the chemical roots stay lazy, Fukuoka's crops are forced to drill deep into the native earth to seek out mineral pockets. They unlock ancient iron, zinc, and manganese buried deep below, building internal resilience that money simply cannot buy. By year 5, a subtle but dangerous divergence occurs. The artificial chemical euphoria reaches its absolute structural limit. Without consistent additions of raw organic carbon, the heavily fertilized soil begins to lose its aggregate binding stability, hardening into concrete. But on the natural side, the $0 plot has built an ironclad foundation. The real shock is just around the corner. Get ready. Year 10 is approaching fast, and the chemical illusion is about to violently break apart. Let us dive deeper. Year 10. The invisible warfare under the topsoil reaches a violent climax, exposing the fatal flaw of artificial farming. Continuous chemical fertilizers have loaded the soil profile with inorganic salts, fusing the earth into solid concrete. As these salt crystals accumulate, they choke out the vital air pockets, destroying the delicate balance of 45% minerals and 25% air. The biological pillar collapses. The thriving underworld city of 1 billion beneficial bacteria per spoonful is turned into a wasteland. According to data from the UN FAO, this structural ruin is not local. Our planet is losing an astonishing 1.7 billion tons of fertile topsoil every single year. In chemical plots, the earthworm census drops from a healthy target of 1 to 7 million worms per hectare down to just a few thousand stumpy survivors. Without these biological engineers to drill pathways, the soil is starved of oxygen. The roots begin to rot from the inside out. Anaerobic conditions take over. The stumpy root lines turn mushy, sending out green stink lines as root rot destroys the crop from within. But across the central lot line, Masanobu Fukuoka's $0 rebellion is moving into a phase of unprecedented power. While the chemical zone suffocates, the natural soil cross-section reveals an incredible architectural marvel built entirely by biological labor. The 3 pillars of living soil are perfectly aligned here. The physical structure is a toy-sop sponge of stable aggregate crumbs. When heavy rains hit, this biological sponge absorbs water instantly, guaranteeing perfect drainage in less than 30 minutes while retaining deep moisture reserves. Because Fukuoka refused to weed or monocrop, Year 10 reveals a highly complex plant community working in absolute harmony. The setup is complete. As we prepare to cross into Year 15, a massive subterranean secret is about to wake up. Let us watch closely. Year 15. On the mountainside, time has silently stripped away all structural illusions, leaving both plots completely bare to their internal truths. Under the natural garden plot, a miraculous subterranean infrastructure has fully woken up. The legendary Wood Wide Web. Over 90% of all land plants are completely dependent on this ancient symbiotic relationship with mycorrhizal fungi. By weaving directly into the roots, these microscopic fungal filaments expand the total absorption surface area of the plant by 100 to 1,000 times. They become the garden's ultimate logistics network, mining deep water reserves and locking down vital phosphorus that roots alone can never reach. But the true power of this wood wide web was documented by world-renowned ecologist Professor Suzanne Simard. Her historic data proved that a single dominant mother plant can actively link, communicate, and distribute critical nutrients to over 47 satellite crops nearby. When a young sprout is struggling in the shade, the mother plant redirects excess sugars and nitrogen straight through the fungal net to save its life. But in the $500 chemical lot, this beautiful cooperative network is completely dead, broken by human interference. Because chemical fertilizers deliver highly concentrated mineral salts straight to the surface, the plants have no incentive to partner with nature. The plow blade cuts whatever remains. Without a continuous supply of living organic root carbon, the mycorrhizal fungal colonies dissolve completely into dust. Isolated, hungry, and fragile, the chemical monoculture crops become prime targets for disease outbreaks and devastating insect invasions. Without the community alerts shared through the NUM network, an outbreak on one plant spreads like wildfire across the entire helpless garden. But on the natural side, the 25-year experiment has locked down total biological immunity. Industry simply cannot compete with this. So how can you build this self-sustaining underground network in your own backyard for $0? It all starts with the ancient art of the seed ball. Let us master it. To replicate Fukuoka's $0 system, we discard commercial seed trays and unlock the ancient art of the clay seed ball. The golden formula is pure simplicity. Mix exactly 1 part diverse seeds with 5 to 10 parts of fine, sieved native clay powder. Instead of plain tap water, we add traditional starch-rich rice wash water, infusing vital vitamin B compounds directly into the matrix. This starch acts as an immediate biological booster shot, feeding local beneficial microorganisms that wake up inside the damp clay incubator. Next, we roll the clay blend between our palms, molding hundreds of tiny circular pellets no larger than a standard marble. We allow these balls to dry completely in the sun for 2 to 3 days. The result is an armor-clad capsule of pure life. Inside this hardened shell, the seed is completely insulated from danger, achieving a staggering 95% baseline protection factor. Standard bare broadcasting loss rates are devastating, but clay encasing securely locks the survival and germination efficiency into a verified target area. Why? Because local birds, hungry field mice, and insect pests find it completely impossible to chew through the iron-hard, sun-baked clay armor. Once cured, the application method completely breaks modern agricultural rules. You do not dig holes. You do not measure rows. You simply launch them across the field. The pellets drop into existing weeds and grass cracks, sitting perfectly dormant for weeks under scorching heat without dehydrating or dying. They wait for one single catalyst, the first massive rainfall of the season. Nature alone decides the perfect moment of activation. As water saturates the pellet, the hard clay armor liquefies instantly, turning into a localized puddle of hyper-fertile mud sludge right around the foy mum. The seed explodes into life. Supported by the pre-activated V-Sing-Vut base, its terminal taproot shoots straight down into the lower native horizons. For $0, ancestral ingenuity builds a garden designed for absolute immunity. Now, let us advance to year 25 and audit the final yield shock. Let us witness the victory. Year 25. The long-term experiment reaches its absolute final chapter, revealing an staggering agronomic truth. When we calculate the comprehensive economic ledger, the final metrics completely shatter modern home gardening conventions. Over 25 years, the input-heavy chemical plot has swallowed over $12,500 in cumulative costs. Meanwhile, Masanobu Fukuoka's natural method has maintained a perfect, unchanging baseline cost of exactly $0. But the true shock lies in the soil quality audit. The natural field's organic matter content has surged past the ideal 5% barrier. In stark contrast, the fertilizer-fed plot has suffered severe biological degradation. its organic topsoil layers reduced to less than 1%. With its structural biology completely wiped out, the chemical garden is trapped in a state of permanent compaction and nutrient lock. But on the natural side, Fukuoka's $0 plot has unlocked an unstoppable mechanism of self-sustaining abundance. The secret is the technique of in-situ biomass recycling, returning every single grain stalk and crop residue directly back to the soil surface. Local earthworms pull this straw underground, turning agricultural waste into rich worm castings, packed with 5 times more nitrogen than standard dirt. When the final yield audit is verified, the results shock the industrial complex. The $0 natural field fully matches and often beats chemical yields. Kenkentaktunyin is not an ancient fairy tale. It is a hyper-optimized biological technology verified by 25 years of reality. The data has spoken. But Fukuoka left behind one final, ultimate lesson that goes far beyond crops. Let us discover the true goal of the soil. The true revolution of Masanobu Fukuoka was never about the quantity of grains filling up the wooden storage boxes. In his classic text, he wrote a statement that stunned the industrial complex. The ultimate goal of farming is not the growing of crops, but the cultivation and perfection of human beings. By stepping away from industrial dominance, you allow the 7 layers of a food forest ecosystem to organize themselves under a sovereign design rule. When you stop fighting against the land, you stop fighting against yourself. The soil heals, and you heal alongside it. 500 years are needed under standard natural rules to manufacture a single centimeter of topsoil layer. Tilling destroys it in a single season. But by returning rum mulch layers and letting the microbiome build the ground, you can override this speed limit, triggering an automated topsoil manufacturing cycle. This is the true legacy of Shizen Nōhō, the restoration of the classic Satoyama landscape, a completely kept-keen cycle of abundance. The comparison data is final. The industrial chemical loop creates financial dependency and structural ruin. Nature builds permanent capital for $0. Put down the plow, discard the chemical bags. Step into your backyard tomorrow morning, observe the earth, and let nature do the work. Subscribe to join the $0 revolution. To replicate Fukuoka's $0 system, we discard commercial seed trays and unlock the ancient art of the clay seed ball. The golden formula is pure simplicity. Mix exactly 1 part diverse seeds with 5 to 10 parts of fine, sieved, native clay powder. Instead of plain tap water, we add traditional starch-rich rice wash water, infusing vital vitamin B compounds directly into the matrix. This starch acts as an immediate biological booster shot, feeding local beneficial microorganisms that wake up inside the damp clay incubator. Next, we roll the clay blend between our palms, molding hundreds of tiny circular pellets no larger than a standard marble. We allow these balls to dry completely in the sun for 2 to 3 days. The result is an armor-clad capsule of pure life. Inside this hardened shell, the seed is completely insulated from danger, achieving a staggering 95% baseline protection factor. Standard bare broadcasting loss rates are devastating, but clay encasing securely locks the survival and germination efficiency into a verified target area. Why? Because local birds, hungry field mice, and insect pests find it completely impossible to chew through the iron-hard, sun-baked clay armor.